Hello guys and welcome back. So today you join me once again using the RX 5700 XT, but today we are in GTA 5 and a bit like the Forza Horizon 5 video, we're going to be testing 3 different resolutions and the different settings. So there isn't presets in this game, so we're going to kind of have to make it up as we go. But what we will do is just kind of play in normal, and then we'll play in high, because there's no medium, no low. It's very weird, as you all know. And then we'll play in very high / ultra. So I'll go through the settings now, and as you can see, 1080p, that's what we'll start with. I'm just using 144Hz, because why not? We're definitely going to hit it with this card. And as you can see, all my settings are either on normal or off. One thing I will mention is I am going to be using MSAA, because it does tighten up the edges quite nicely, and it really doesn't affect performance. As we do get higher through the settings, I will be turning MSAA on, maybe 2 times for medium and then 4 times for the very high setting, just because I guess that's in line with very high and medium, so to speak. So we'll make up as we go, but obviously because we are on low, we are going to be using just the lowest settings. So for the advanced graphics, we're just going to be keeping everything off just for the sake of this video. Maybe right towards the end when we are at 4K Ultra, if our graphics card and PC isn't going to explode, then I might just turn them on just to see how we get on. A bit like Forza, for every time you change your graphics or certain graphics, I'm going to have to reset the game, so it could be quite a long one again. But as usual, you can just skip through. There will be timestamps down in the description, and you can just skip through if you want. And we're not going to be playing online, because I don't want to play online because it's just a mess. So we'll go on story mode, and we'll have a little drive around, have a little play, and go from there and see how we get on. Okay, here we are. Look at that. So 100, yeah, we're hitting the limiter. So we are going to get stutters here, which I kind of expected because we're at 1080p low. As you can see, they're already in play. So what I'm going to do is start the benchmark. There we go. And you'll see the 1% lows / 0.1% lows go crazy, as you can see there. We are literally lagging so badly. This is how powerful this card is. Have a little drive around either way. I mean, this game is very playable at 1080p lower settings. Obviously, there's no details, and this game's not really hard to run, especially for this card. I do like doing these test videos, because then I guess we can just get an idea of how this card performs. I'm curious to see how it performs in 4K. I haven't tested it whatsoever. I usually just play in 1440p, so that's going to be interesting. And a bit like the Forza Horizon 5 video, I'm just not going to be driving around for too long, and there's going to be no graphs and no actual benchmarks, so you just kind of can just see as we go, but more like a live situation. Frame rate is, I was going to say, it's so steady, but it just isn't. It's so high that it's so unstable. So what we're going to do is go from low. And I am going to do most of these tests actually driving around, simply because it's a more realistic situation, because you're going faster pace. So I'll actually explain what I'm going to be doing with these settings, because like I said, there's not really any preset, so we're just going to make it up as we go. I've got an idea of what we're going to do. So because we're going up to medium now, and then we're going to go to very high / ultra, I'm actually going to put the MSAA on by 2 times, which isn't much whatsoever. VSync can stay off, and then I'm going to put these up halfway, or give or take halfway, because we are technically medium settings now, and then these can just go on high. I know it does say it's high, but I guess how I see it is normal is low, high is medium, and then like very high and ultra is just like very high or / ultra. So we're going to go reflection, I think that's 8 times, so we'll go medium, which is 4 times, and then we're going to go water quality, which will be high. All these can be on high. I'm just going to keep the shadows on soft because it's so much easier. And then we'll go post FX, and then motion blur can stay right off. This goes up to 16, so we'll put that on 8. And then obviously when we go into the very high settings, everything will just go up except the MSAA, because it really does tank performance on every card. So high, tessellation high, and then I'm going to apply the changes, and then I'll be back with you guys in a second. Okay, so we are back into the game. So FPS, we're already stuttering. It's so crazy, this card. It's just crazy. I know this is a very old game now, but you know, considering we've just gone up like a bump in settings, this game looks great for the age, and I am so excited for GTA 6 to come out. I've actually just been playing GTA 4 on PC, which I've never played before, because when I did go to install it last time, I heard that it was really unplayable, but it seems fine, and I'm having so much fun replaying that game on actual good settings. So we're going to have a little drive around. We'll actually focus a bit more on the actual statistics this time round. So the GPU temperature is at 65, which is quite good actually for the 5700 XT. I have only got a 2-fan card, so these do get quite hot. Bear in mind this card is stock, and I've not overclocked, undervolted. This is just stock setting. Same with the CPU, the Ryzen 5 5600X. That's just stock, and RAM's just the same as last time, 3200 megahertz. It's actually at CL19, and it's not in XMP. So here's a funny one for you. I've actually ordered a new kit of RAM, 32 gigabytes. I think it's 3200 megahertz at CL16. So I guess it'll help straighten out these benchmarks a little bit, even though it's absolutely fine, especially in these older games. You really don't need faster RAM, as you can see. Well, I say as you can see, but we are using 10 gigabytes, but I'm looking forward to get 32 gigs. Why not? It's a bit of an upgrade, and it's so cheap at the moment. Like a brand new kit of 32 gigabytes has costed me like £70 or something, which is, it's quite good really, isn't it? So anyway, let's get back to it. So frame rate, we're at 125. We're at great FPS. You know what, I've completely forgot because I'm unorganized. I've not started the benchmark, so we'll do that. The reason why I like driving, for one, I actually love driving in GTA games. I like driving simply because it's fun, it's relaxing, and it's fast paced, as I mentioned before. And driving as Franklin is like one of the best driving experiences in GTA, in any GTA game, especially coming from GTA 4. It's so funny the driving in GTA 4, but I'm getting used to that now, and that's fun as well. But I guess we should be speaking about the game at hand, GTA 5, and not GTA 4. So yeah, very playable. 1080p high or medium, that's what we're going to go off. And oh, we've got a great stutter then. And that was like a stutter that wasn't hitting the limiter, which was interesting. I mean, this game's usually always stable for me, so maybe that was a one-off. But it's very, very, very much playable. I'm looking forward to going to Ultra. But because we have been going around for quite a bit now, I am going to do that. In a second, I'm going to change it to the Ultra settings, because most people still play at 1080p, so this is a good representation of how this card will perform on 1080p. But it's also nice to see if it'll play at 1440p and 4K. So in fact, we'll do that now. This video seems a bit all over the place. I said this with the last Forza Horizon, well, with the Forza Horizon video, it is a bit all over the place. I have no script. It's just me trying to not jumble up my words too much and actually sound like I know what I'm doing. So we're going to go back into where we're still at 1080p. We're going to go MSAA 4 times, and then this can go all the way up because we are technically going to the higher settings now. So very high. I do need to see if some of these go to Ultra, which I know a couple of them do. So I'll just make sure I can do that. This can go all the way up, very high. Just make sure there's no Ultra. And it's the grass settings actually that might be making me stutter. I know I've not really been near grass, but usually I actually keep the grass quality all the way down. So maybe what I'll do is when I get to a grassy area and say if it's eating away at my FPS, I will just turn it down and just show you how smooth it will be, because the grass quality setting in this game is really rough, man. It's not great. So we'll go Ultra. Don't want that on. High was already at high on ambient occlusion, and there we go. So I'll just restart the game. Okay, so we are back. Wow, 120 FPS so far. Let me end this benchmark real quick. We'll take a few screenshots as we go, because that's the way it is. Get in the car, and I'm actually gonna go. The game looks great, doesn't it? I've managed to delete my save, and I had to reinstall the game, and now I'm started right from the beginning, which is such a sad day because I'd completed the game. But at least I can complete the game again off camera. So what we're going to do is try and find some grass. Actually try and remember where it's really grassy. I'm going to try and get to the seafront, or the coast, the seafront, and I think I'll be able to find my way. I've played this game enough to kind of know where I need to go. But yeah, we've got the benchmark on, and because we are on the actual highest settings with 4 times MSAA, well, for one, the game looks amazing. The game is running really well. The card is running this game very, very well, actually. And don't mind my driving. Trying to game and speak is like one of the hardest things ever for me. I don't know why. What I will do is actually I will put on the advanced settings after the the very high settings test. So I'll do the very high settings test without the advanced graphics, and then I'll do a test with. So we can get a comparison of the actual game truly on max. So we'll get some speed up. I just want to go up by the mountains here because it's quite grassy. I guess I can just turn left here, then what I can do is fly around this corner. And if you don't want to hear my voice, you're more than welcome to mute it as well, because I guess it's not for everyone. People just want to come in, get some FPS statistics and call it a day. So what I'll do now is I'll actually go into a grassy bit. So FPS, wow, this card is so powerful, man. It is dropping, but it's not dropping as much as I actually expected. It's bumped my graphics card fan up quite a bit. That's how intense the grass is. So actually, this whole time I've been playing literally on low settings, well, low grass settings, and it's actually running amazing. I can't believe how well actually it is running in the grass settings. So I'm very pleased. So I'm going to actually see. So as you can see, the average air is about 115. I will drive around for a little bit longer because I'm sure this is what people want to see. And then I'm going to go into the advanced settings and put that up as well. But yeah, very, very playable. I'm very surprised actually because I've not played with high grass settings for a long time. A very long time, in fact. But as you can see, I can hear my graphics card ramping down. That's so funny, man. It was trying so hard. But it stayed cool though, you know, around 70 degrees when I was stressing it out. It's not bad. And we're at about 85% utilization. The CPU's not even trying. Maybe I should focus on a road and not the statistics server. Yeah, very, very playable. I mean, if you just have a 1080p monitor and you want a very nice frame rate and you just want to play on pretty much max settings. What I will do, just out of curiosity, this usually doesn't go well, but I am going to actually port, may as well have a play around with it now. I'm going to port MSAA 8 times on, and they do say you shouldn't really play at 8 times. Oh my god, there's absolutely no way. It doesn't really make much of a difference, but the fact that we're still hitting around 100 FPS. Oh, and just to mention, because I am recording, my FPS might be impacted a little bit, so just take that into consideration. Generally, it's about 2 or 3 FPS difference, so nothing major. But wow, what a playable experience. You know what, sometimes I always underestimate how good the 5700 XT is. I really, really do. But yeah, it's great. And what I'm going to do now is actually put on the advanced settings as well. So we will go and do that. I don't know if it actually requires me to reset the game, but I'm just literally going to put all these on. Is it going to let me? High resolution shadows. I'm going to literally max it out, man. But I'm not going to put on scaling mode because I don't want to do that. Oh, okay. So I don't actually have to restart the game. That's nice to know. So as you can see, my FPS has just gone down a little bit. It's still at 80. My frame time has gone up a little bit. We're at about 12 milliseconds, 13 milliseconds, but very, very playable. Oh, there we go. Let's see if we can go under 60 FPS. I mean, obviously, this game is very playable at 60 FPS. And better, obviously. Yeah, the game looks great on these settings. The advanced settings actually are really nice, because you can just see a lot more detail in the roads. I think that's the main setting I noticed, to be honest. But it's kind of good testing on these highways because there's quite a lot of cars, a lot of traffic, and I guess that's what's going to slow us down, if it is going to slow us down. That's a tight gap, but that's why we've got Franklin's ability. What would we do, if we didn't have Franklin's ability? I'm sure you just drive normally. It's not hard. It's only a game. That's very true. That's very true. Yeah, but as you can see, very, very playable. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to actually change all the settings around. In fact, my game's just fully crashed. So just bear with me, guys. I'll be back in a second. Oh, it's typical, isn't it? Okay, I think we actually are back now. So let's just double check the settings. Display, sorry, graphics. We're still in DirectX 11, 1440p, and all the settings are back to normal. Right, advanced graphics are off as well. Yeah, looks like we're just gonna be smashing off that FPS cap, but that's fine. Do you know what? The loading screens in GTA don't get old, man. Even when you've got a Gen 4 NVMe SSD with 7,000 or 8,000 read and write speeds, it's fine. It is what it is. But it is funny. It will always make me laugh. I'm looking forward to GTA 6. buy the game on release. It takes about 5 days to actually get into the game. I can see it happening. It's going to happen, isn't it? Okay, so let me start the benchmark. We are hitting the limiter ever so slightly, but it's hard to say. So GPU temp is good. That'll slowly rise probably a little bit up to about 70, I guess, as I drive around. And then we've got CPU temp, man. You know, I've just got a deep cool air cooler, and it was so cheap. I think it cost me like £15, and it's so good. Honestly, I know my CPU's just at stock, but it is so good. Yeah, we are hitting this limiter so badly. Oh, we're hitting it that badly. It's making me stutter, and I can't drive. What a shame. So, yeah, there's not even much point playing at these settings because it's not playable, so it's kind of silly staying at these settings. But I'm sure now, once I put these settings up, that'll change it very, very nicely. So let's go through the settings, and then this can go to high too, and the advanced graphics can stay the same. Okay, so let's make sure the settings saved, because I feel like sometimes they do just change. Don't know why. Yeah, it's looking good. So if you need to pause it, you're more than welcome to. And then we're going to start the benchmark early so I don't forget. Okay, so the game's looking amazing, of course. It's 1440p. Why wouldn't it? We're not bouncing off a limiter, so I'm curious to see how the stuttering goes. I can hear my GPU ramping up a little bit. That'll be because of the MSAA mainly. Utilization 99%. That's good to see. And then CPU just... It's bumped up, but it's still not trying, is it? It just doesn't need to. So we'll have a little drive around here. If you guys would like to see this same test done on GTA Online, because it is a bit of a different experience, I typically find you get a bit less FPS on GTA Online, and it does fluctuate, it does change. So if, like I said, you want to see that, just let me know. That'd be great. In fact, what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to go and head over towards like more foliage areas. Well, I say that, but there's no point on these settings because we've already proven that this car just isn't affected by the grass settings in this game, which to me, or what I've noticed to me, is like one of the first cards that I've noticed isn't affected too much. But I'm sure that's just because I use budget options all the time, so I guess me saying that, coming in here with my R9 280 from 2013 and saying, oh yeah, the grass is really affected, I guess that's going to be the case, isn't it? So... you know, I'm kind of introduced to a new world of nice graphics cards, and this card is like so good for me. But it is funny how I do like budget options, because thinking about it, my PC isn't exactly like cheap. I've found bargains, I've found deals, but I mean, just my storage drives alone are probably worth more than my graphics card, which kind of doesn't make sense, I suppose. But I just like fast storage, so I'm happy. I'm happy with this card, as you can see. It's doing great. Just going to go and head over here. We're going to try and do the jump. I'm sure this won't go very well. Do you know what? I've never done this jump in Franklin's ability, so it's a first for everything. Oh! Didn't even actually hit the ramp. We just went through it. How am I going to be able to straighten myself? Oh, this ain't looking good, is it? This is not looking good at all. What, are we going to hit the tree? Are we going to hit the concrete? Are we going to hit the mountain? Are we going to hit the... don't know. Yeah, we're hitting that wall. I don't want to skip it. I just don't want... it's not worth it. Look at... oh my god! Okay, moving on. We didn't see that. Okay, because of going on to the ultra settings, or the very high settings in this game, I'll do the test without the advanced settings, because I don't need to restart the game, which I've only just found out which ones go to ultra here. Let me just double check I'm not... I've got a feeling now this is where, yeah, it's going to struggle, especially... with the 8 times MSAA and probably the highest grass settings. Obviously, if it does give us problems, we can at least bump it down, because then we're still on very high. But for now, we'll go with our guns and just get it done. Okay, yeah, look at that frame rate already. It's not looking good, man, but I guess this is what I expected. Let me just see, make sure everything's saved right. We might have to optimize max settings, just turn some of the graphics down in a second, but we'll just see, because I guess this is just a test, like kind of stubbornly, just to see how well the card handles it. So I guess I won't even need to do that, because at the end of the day you can kind of just make your own decision of what to do. This is more just a test to see how well it does. But we're already at 72 degrees, which is quite quick, to be honest. But no, you know what, it feels good. 16 milliseconds frame time. You know, thinking about it when we was playing Forza Horizon 5, when we was on max settings 1440p there, was getting close to like 20 milliseconds frame time. So it still feels really good actually. What I will do in just 1 second is, actually I won't, I'm going to put the advanced settings on after a little drive around. And then what I can do is I can just turn maybe the grass settings down by 1 setting to very high, and then I can put MSAA onto 4 times, because in reality most people don't even play with MSAA in this game, and it is very taxing. Because I don't have to restart my game, I don't think, when I do change that setting. I'll even just try it on like off and just keep FXAA on, just to see how well this game plays 1440p on the actual high settings, that is. And we've still not turned on the advanced graphics, so I definitely think it won't be very playable once I do that. So maybe to get it playable, we'll have a little play around with the settings, try and target 60 FPS and go from there. But yeah, this isn't the worst experience ever. I can't really feel any input delay. It feels great, to be honest. I could play like this in story mode, no problems. Online though, I think it'll be a bit of a different story. We are just doing our testing on story mode today, so that's what we're going to go with. Right, because we're getting a bit of a general understanding of how the card's doing. It is hitting the 60 FPS. I do just want to put on the advanced graphics, and I just want to see how it does. In terms of video memory, this card's just absolutely smashing it with the 8 GB. So there we go. We're literally maxed out. We're still actually close to that 60 FPS. That's brilliant, isn't it? So frame time is still around the 15 mark as well, which is nice to see. I'll have a little drive around here and I'll let you know if I think this is playable. And so far so good, because it is so far. Bit tiny minor stutters there, but like I said, it is still playable. But knowing how demanding MSAA can be, this isn't bad at all, and the game looks great at these settings actually. So as you can see, 59, 57, 56, 60. And I know this isn't the most in-depth testing, I know it isn't. I just kind of want to get a rough idea of how it performs. I think that's what this is about. So yeah, this is actually very playable. Just out of curiosity, because the game looks brilliant anyway, I'm just going to put the MSAA, this is just for like a me test. Go back to graphics, and then I'm going to put this down to 4 times, because in reality you don't need 8. In reality on this game you don't even need 4, sorry. But as you, oh wow. Yeah, so going from 8 to 4 has literally just given me 30, well, yeah, 30 FPS, 20 give or take, whilst I'm moving. But now that's just turned this game into the perfect story mode experience. My frame time has gone down by nearly 4 milliseconds, which is huge. And there we go. So this game is comfortably running GTA 5, admittedly an older game, at literally max settings besides the 4 times MSAA. Advanced graphics at 1440p. That is a nice experience. And whilst I'm at it, just quickly, like I said, it is a bit off topic, but I guess you can get an idea, and it does kind of portray how taxing that MSAA is. So I don't know how much difference 4 to 2 makes, or 2 to 4 makes, but it doesn't make any difference in the actual visuals, in my opinion, unless you pixel picking. But yeah, so we've gone to 2. We're around 60 FPS around here, which is interesting because I was getting around 90 on it, so that's probably because I'm near all this foliage now. But what I'm actually going to do is kind of go back to where I came from. Yeah, and now facing this way, I'm getting close to 80 again, which is very funny. But yeah, very playable. 11 milliseconds frame time, drop down to 10 there. But as we actually approach the airport, as you can see, it does get really smooth because there's not much going on here. I guess it is very quiet, which is it's kind of good to know. So, but still big difference. If I was you guys, I wouldn't even run MSAA, maybe 2 times and then just call it a day. Just make sure. Oh yeah, that's not looking good. Okay, so yeah, very positive. 1440p, pretty much a higher settings, runs perfectly on this card. The only thing I'd suggest is just not play with 8 times MSA, even 4, definitely 2, or just turn it off if you want a few extra frames. But once you get into heavy traffic, as you can see here, we are at the 70 FPS mark. Or just under the 70 FPS mark, but it feels more playable. The difference I can say with the 8x MSAA is that I felt more micro stutters, whereas here my frame time has shot up a bit because there's a lot more going on because of the traffic scaling's very high. Obviously, if you just, I like the game looking pretty. Obviously, that's why you buy cards like this. But if then you want to turn down the traffic scale or how many cars there is on a road, whatever the setting is called, you could do that, and that'll greatly improve performance. As you see, right in the center here, 87, 80 FPS, it's playing great. So without further ado, let's actually go into 4K now, and my game just doesn't like it when I change into 4K, so let's see what happens here. So we'll go to 4K, apply settings. It's definitely going to crash. It definitely didn't crash. That's amazing. And then we'll just turn everything off and into low. Okay, so I've actually just made the hardware monitoring graph a bit bigger because I noticed in my Forza Horizon 5 video, it was quite hard to see at 4K. So we're at 4K. We are bouncing off the limiter, which in this game is very easily solved by literally just changing a couple of settings, but we'll do the test once again. It's very unplayable, that's all I can say. But we are getting, well, theoretically high FPS. But it is just going to be unplayable. But I'll just have a little drive around just to show you that. We're getting close to the end of this test now. I do enjoy these tests actually. They're very fun for me. I just like to see how well these cards do. But yeah, the cards running amazing. There's no point in me putting the benchmark on because I'm just a stuttering mess right now. What I will do though is change the settings up to medium because we may as well. We just may as well do that. Okay, so wow, yeah, this is changed quite drastically, to be honest. Interesting. Right, so we are at 4K. I'll just double check the settings. Yep, 4K at the, well, what we would call the medium preset there. If you need to pause it, then you're more than welcome to. Advanced graphics are off. And we'll have a little drive around and see how we get on. So, first impression is the frame time then felt quite high. I guess it is saying that it's the same as 1440p Ultra, so I guess that's how the scaling is. It's very playable, don't get me wrong, it is. But I just felt like I feel more, a bit of a delay as I move my camera around. The driving feels fine. It might be because I'm playing on controller. I do usually just play mouse and keyboard. In fact, I can even use my mouse here. And yeah, I can back that up. It does feel a bit more delayed with the mouse there. So obviously we want to find the highest settings that are still playable. I think that's the point and the purpose of these videos. At least for me, and especially on story mode games, I'd rather just have the highest or the best graphic fidelity possible, but obviously for it to still be playable. So I'm very interested in seeing how well it does when we go on to, so yeah, when we go into the foliage here, because we're already kind of struggling, it takes quite a tank. So 36 FPS, I'll just drive through these bushes a little bit more. As you can see, 40, 36. So yeah, definitely there's a restraint. Obviously, a lot of the time you're not just driving through bushes, so that's one thing to mention. But as soon as I get off this grass here, even though the grass was affecting it, we just go straight back up to about 60, 68. Yeah. So yeah, I can say that at these settings it is playable. What I'm going to do is just have a quick drive around, a bit of a loop around the button. Oh, yeah, I'm using the wrong buttons. The game looks brilliant in 4K. It's very, very nice. GPU temperature 73 degrees. It struggled a little bit higher, but fine. It's probably like 100%. Just having a good time. No, this is more than playable, definitely. And just because we've had a little go at that, I just want to just see quickly, because like I keep saying, it's not that important. So let me go to graphics when it lets me go down. I'm just going to turn this MSAA off completely, just whilst we're towards the back end of this test, because at the end of the day, if we can get a few extra FPS to make it more playable, then we may as well do that. As you can see, we've shot up to 100 FPS now. Isn't that crazy to think that if you go back and compare, honestly, to it being on, you will not tell a difference. It does actually appear that my advanced settings are on. Is it? No, they're not. But I guess it's just looking good. It's looking crisp. Look at that difference there. I will just end this benchmark quickly, and then I'll just restart it. But from going from 50 something, 59/60 into like 100 is just such a night and day difference. And that's just why a lot of benchmarkers, and including myself, do bang on about not using MSAA, because it's not even necessary. Look, we're going through the same bushes now, and we're still at 80 FPS. The exact same bushes. Frame time is even improved by a few milliseconds, and it just goes to show really that if I was to tell you, just don't use MSAA. That's what I'm going to take. That's my verdict for this video. Just don't use MSAA. It's not worth it at all. On that note, let's go up to 4K max settings, but I am going to keep the MSAA off for now, even though I should put it on. But after that experience, there's just no point. So FXAA can stay on. All these settings can go right up. Okay, so once again, let's just check the settings. Graphics, 4K. MSAA is going to be off. I'm going to actually keep it off for the rest of this video. Okay, so as you can see, we're at 4K. Pretty much the highest settings in the base settings, besides, of course, the MSAA, which, like I said, isn't needed. The game's looking great, or as great as a 2013 game can be. That was just brilliant, wasn't it? That was just bang on the money. So we'll have a little drive around as we have been. And then I'll turn on the advanced graphics, and then right at the very end, I will just bump up the MSAA and just literally bring this card to its knees, even though it won't be playable. I guess it's just a fun little test, isn't it? So let's have a little drive around. How do I go into... I was just going to say, how do I go into first person? I've not done it once this video. I do usually do that, but it's still very playable. So, yeah, just please excuse my first person driving. I am horrific. I'm horrific at driving anyway, but even worse. So we're just going to go back into the third person camera. Yep, 65 FPS. GPU is still at 73 degrees, which, like I said, is quite normal for my card. As long as I'm staying above 60, I'm happy. The frame time is just absolutely fine for this card, especially in story mode. If I was getting this exact performance in GTA Online, I probably would change some settings. I like to target around, say, 100 FPS in GTA Online, but obviously I did not know how I was meant to control my car then. It wasn't letting me at all. But we're still alive. That could have been the end. But as you can see, yeah, above 60 FPS at 4K Ultra. It's very impressive, man. So quickly, what I'm going to do is I'm going to actually put on the advanced settings, because it does make the game look that extra bit nicer. For pretty much a little performance, or at least during this test it has been. Oh, I thought I crashed then, but I didn't. I say little performance, so we're just, as we stopped here, about 60 FPS. Once we stopped here before turning them settings on, we was getting maybe about 6 or 7 FPS more, which I know isn't the most accurate benchmark, but look at that. Frame time's gone up a tiny little bit more. That's quite normal. 53 FPS. Got a bit of a pop tie there. So I wouldn't go as far as saying this isn't playable, but I would just, I'd keep the advanced graphics on. I'd mess around with some certain settings in the game. We're not going to do that today, but this is what I would advise you if you was playing at 4K. I would just say, look, keep the advanced graphics on, because it just looks nicer, and just turn some of them settings down in the menu. There'll be some settings that will just give you that extra FPS just to put the cherry on the top, basically. But I always do this. Every time I play this game, I always think, wow, what a great game. And it still holds up, man. I mean, there's games that come out these days and it doesn't look as good as this game, so I'll tell you what, they did do one thing right. But actually, it's fine. It is very playable, which is nice to see. So if you want a card to play the GTA 5 story mode at 4K, this is the one. This is all you need. I'm sure. Great driving. So yeah, just out of curiosity, let's just go through this is just going to finalize the video. let's just put on MSAA 2 times, just have a quick little drive around, nothing major, just a quick one. So yeah, we have dropped performance quite a bit, and that is just from 2 times, and like I say, it makes no difference. So as I was just saying, I would definitely recommend this game 4K, even if you super sample it and just, you know, use the built-in AMD software, kind of like how I am doing for this test, and you want to play in 4K, then it's definitely a viable option. And if you want a bit more than 60 FPS so you stay above it at all times, just play about with the settings yourself. Like I said, we're not going to do that today, but I definitely wouldn't be playing with 2 times MSAA, which then also goes without saying that you shouldn't be playing it 4 times, but I guess I just don't appreciate my graphics card and I want to destroy it. I want it to blow up today. But yeah, we've gone up to 4 times, around 40 FPS in this certain area. Like I said, it's not very in-depth. It's not, you know, the most flawless statistics you're going to get, but I guess FPS varies from system to system anyway. Obviously, you don't need a Ryzen 5 5600X to run this card, but I like to use this CPU because it's my baby. Yeah, like this isn't the most unplayable stuttery mess I've ever had in my life. It's just not advised. What we'll do just for the last test, just because we're here now, we've came this far. I definitely didn't apply them settings, so we'll do that, and then we'll end up the video. Not bad, just in time. 1 hour, pretty much. We've been recording for, which isn't too bad. Thought it was going to take a bit longer. Oh my lord. I don't even know if the recording software picked it up, but that is just not worth it, is it? And on that bombshell, thank you very much for watching. If you enjoyed, please like, please subscribe, do all that good stuff, and take care.